The cabin lights dim. The steady hum of the engines fills the silence. Two little black girls, twins, sleep peacefully in their first-class seats, their tiny hands intertwined, faces calm, unaware of the storm about to erupt. Flight attendants whisper, passengers scroll on their phones, and the night flight feels like any other. But then, something unusual happens. A flight attendant quietly slips into the cockpit, and moments later, the captain emerges. His face is tense, his eyes scanning the girls with suspicion. He leans toward the crew and asks a single question, one so shocking, so unsettling, that it changes the fate of the entire flight. Passengers begin to notice. Murmurs ripple through the cabin. The air feels heavy with tension. Why would a captain, a man trusted to lead hundreds of lives safely through the skies, ask a question that reeks of fear and prejudice? What follows is a story of innocence, injustice, and the unimaginable strength of a mother who refuses to stay silent. Stay with me. Because what begins as a peaceful night flight ends with a confrontation so powerful, it forces an entire airline to answer for its actions. And the twist? It all starts with two sleeping children. I'll weave this part like a slow burn thriller, mixing suspense, injustice, and emotional pull. We open on the Williams family, Alicia Williams, a respected lawyer, traveling with her 8-year-old twin daughters, Maya and Leah. It's supposed to be a simple red-eye from Atlanta to Chicago, where Alicia is set to give a keynote speech on civil rights law. The girls, dressed in matching hoodies, clutch their stuffed animals and quickly fall asleep after takeoff. Alicia breathes a sigh of relief. She's a frequent flyer, used to the sideways glances she gets as a black woman in first class, but tonight she just wants peace. But peace doesn't last. A flight attendant lingers near her row, eyeing the twins longer than necessary. She disappears into the galley, then slips into the cockpit. Minutes later, the captain himself steps out, a tall, stern man whose expression sends a chill through Alicia. He leans close to the crew and asks quietly, but loud enough for Alicia to catch, "Are these girls really hers?" Alicia's heart stops. She grips the armrest, fighting to steady her breath. She knows what's happening. She's being accused of something unthinkable, kidnapping her own daughters. Passengers nearby hear fragments of the conversation. Some glance curiously, others pull out their phones, sensing something is wrong. The tension thickens as the captain whispers to the attendants. One of them, emboldened, approaches Alicia. "Ma'am, can we see some identification for the children?" Alicia freezes. "Excuse me?" The attendant clears her throat. "We just need to verify that they're yours." Alicia's voice trembles, but she steadies it with the power of a lawyer who has spent her life confronting injustice. "Those are my daughters. They are sleeping. And you are disturbing them with a question you would never ask if they didn't look like me." The cabin grows silent. Eyes turn. Phones rise. The flight is no longer just a flight, it's becoming a stage. And Alicia realizes, this is not going to end quietly. Suspense builds as more details unfold. The captain radios ahead, requesting law enforcement to meet the plane upon landing. Alicia, aware of her rights, begins documenting everything on her phone. Passengers begin whispering their support, some offering to testify. By the time the plane begins its descent, the atmosphere is electric with unease. Everyone knows, the landing will not be normal. The wheels touch down. Instead of the usual calm taxi to the gate, the plane halts on the runway. Blue and red lights flash outside. Police vehicles surround the aircraft. Gasps ripple through the cabin. Maya and Leah, awakened by the commotion, cling to their mother, confused and frightened. The captain's voice crackles over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated. Law enforcement will be boarding shortly." Alicia's stomach knots. She knows this is racial profiling in its rawest form. The twins' innocence is being treated as suspicion simply because of the color of their skin. When officers board, the scene becomes unbearable. They approach Alicia directly, their hands hovering near their belts. "Ma'am, we need to ask you some questions about these children." Alicia, calm but fierce, raises her phone. You will not interrogate my daughters in front of an audience like criminals. They are children, and I am their mother. Now, unless you want a lawsuit that will cost this airline more than your annual budget, you will treat us with respect." Passengers erupt. Some clap. Others shout in agreement. "This is wrong. Leave her alone. She's their mom." One man, a journalist, stands up and announces, "This is all being recorded. And if you drag this woman off this plane, it'll be on the news before you reach baggage claim." The officers hesitate. Pressure mounts. The captain steps out again, his authority slipping as the crowd turns against him. Alicia doesn't back down. With shaking hands but unwavering conviction, she calls someone, her law partner, who also happens to be live on air at a local news station. Within minutes, Alicia's story is broadcast. By the time the plane doors open, reporters are waiting. The airline scrambles to do damage control, but it's too late. The footage goes viral. Headlines explode. Black mother accused of kidnapping her own kids on flight. Captain's fearful question grounds airline in controversy. The fallout is immediate. The captain is suspended. The flight attendants face investigation. And Alicia? She takes the airline to court, demanding accountability, not just for herself, but for every black parent who's ever been doubted, disrespected, or humiliated in public. And in the biggest twist, during the trial, one of the passengers, a quiet elderly woman who had filmed the entire incident, steps forward. Her video becomes the key piece of evidence that brings the airline to its knees. Alicia doesn't just win. She changes policy forever. This story isn't fiction, it reflects a painful truth many families face. Innocence questioned, dignity denied, all because of skin color. Two little girls just wanted to sleep peacefully on a flight, but even in their dreams, racism found its way to their row. But Alicia showed us something vital. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it looks like a mother refusing to let fear silence her. Sometimes it's the steady voice saying, "These are my children, and I will not be humiliated." So here's the question for you. If you had been on that plane, what would you have done? Would you have spoken up? Would you have filmed? Would you have defended her? Because silence isn't neutral, it takes sides. If this story made you think, don't just click away. Share it. Talk about it. And if you want more powerful stories like this, hit subscribe. Every week, we bring you tales that expose injustice and celebrate resilience. The world changes when ordinary people refuse to look away. So stay with us, because the next story might be the one that changes how you see everything.